You need to be surrounded with people who are smarter than you, who have a different perspective, who have
Mm-hmm.
seen more shit, who've accomplished things, because there is that wisdom and experience that they carry. How does
Mm-hmm.
one find these people? And one of the things would be that you start going to networking events.
Right.
But then there is this major imposter syndrome that kicks in with a lot of people. How am I going to start a conversation? What am I going to do in that networking event?
Yeah.
um Tell me tips and tricks of how somebody would be able to do well at a networking event when they
Mm.
go in with the ambition of being able to make meaningful contacts.
There's two questions in what you just said. So one would be, how do you function in a networking event? And the other
Mhm.
one is, how do you get started with imposter syndrome? Which one would you like me to answer?
Both.
Both of them. Okay, let me start with the first one. When I began, I had predominantly worked with students and some early professionals. That was my portfolio of people. And when I started making content on social media, someone booked a call on my calendar and it said VP of technology company. So he booked a call with me. And when I got on the call, yeah, he's a VP of a technology company. And he said, yeah, sir, I just want your help to be more confident in meetings when I'm speaking. And I'm thinking, oh my God, it's a VP. I've never worked with a VP. These people are all the way up here. And at the time, I wasn't doing this full time. I had a job. I was taking on clients on the side. But I was so intimidated. I didn't know what the heck they say in meetings. I didn't even know how to help him, right? So I said, okay, I'll help you. Let's get on a free call. And if you like what I have to offer, we'll go from there. So he put down a deposit. We got on the call. And what I do is in my first call, I try to establish where are they now so I know what to help them with. And the way I run this exercise is I throw some questions at them that they're not prepared for, and they just have to answer on the spot. So I'll ask a question like, where do you see the company going the next 5 years? If you had to change something about yourself, what would it be? And as I'm asking those questions, I had this feeling that he's making up the answers. It didn't sound like that's what he would actually say. So as he is saying those things to me, I don't really know how to help, and I don't want to challenge him. So I said, "Hey, I'm curious. Is this actually how you would act if you were to go back in time? Is this what you would actually do for your vision and hire people?" And he confidently said, "Oh no, I'm just making it up." And then I'm thinking, I'm wondering how come you're making it up and not just telling me you don't know the answer? He said, well, I as a leader, I can't tell people I don't know the answer. I have to tell them I know the answer. And again, I don't know how to help them. I'm thinking, is it worse that you're telling them you know and it's an incorrect answer? Or is it worse that you just tell them you don't know and you can point them to who does know? And then he just goes quiet, Chirag. And I'm thinking, Yasir, this is why you should just shut up, not work with VPs, just give him what he wants, stop asking all these questions. Thinks about it for a bit. And he said, yeah, so you know what? Let's continue this call later. I have other things going on. We'll continue this session later. And my self-esteem went from here. Actually, it went from here to completely submerged underwater. Like, Yasir, this is why you don't deserve to do this. All of the imposter syndrome comes back up. Then he messages me. He says, Yasir, after our conversation, I went to my therapist and we talked about it. And she reminded me that when I was a child, my parents were very strict and they did not allow me to have to say I don't know. I had to have an answer. So I trained myself. Even when I don't know the answer, I have to have an answer. So now that I'm an adult and I'm coaching my team and they ask me questions, I always pretend to know the answers. But I'm seeing that they see me as a role model and they start to do the same thing. Where when they don't know the answer, they pretend like they know the answer. And this creates a lot of communication blocks in the company. So thank you for helping with that. And then he came back and we continued working together. So after months of working with him, I finally had the courage to ask him, hey, when you and I worked together, I had no experience. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. Why did you pay me? Why did you work with me? I didn't have any experience. And he said, to this day, I remember this. He said, Yasir, I didn't pay for your experience. I paid for your perspective. I didn't pay for your experience. I paid for
Ooh.
your perspective. People pay for your perspective. I didn't want to know I could have found out from my colleagues about my public speaking. I wanted to know what you had to say about my public speaking. That's why I paid you. So when we're talking about networking events, oftentimes you have this imposter syndrome feeling where I don't know more than this person. I don't have more knowledge than this person. But what if you don't have more knowledge, but you have a different perspective? No matter how knowledgeable someone is, they can never see it from the outside. And that's where you come in. That's where you add perspective. So that will help you in your networking as well.
I love that.